Hello, everyone, and welcome. Today's podcast is going to be a touchy subject for most, and a difficult area for me. It's about being a parent and being separated from your children, and having an estranged ex, and how you go about handling as a dad or as a mum, because I know it happens the other way as well, and what you can do about it, if anything. So, have you been estranged from your children? Are you doing your utmost to sort of see them? Are you going down the route of the legal battles? Are you exhausting that and costing you thousands of pounds, hemorrhaging money for no result? Is your ex-partner breaching court orders? Are you just generally being stopped and hitting brick walls and roadblocks at every turn and twist and alley you go down? Then if you are, we'd like to hear from you, because I just want to put it out there to see what it's like for other people in that position, or people that have come through the other end, and what they've done to do that, and how they've managed to achieve it. And of course, the ultimate goal, I suppose, is to, if a relationship breaks up, if one or the other doesn't handle it very good, and perhaps, there are no do-overs in life. It's one of my regrets. I wish I handled things a lot different. I wish that I stepped up to the plate. I wish that I was more of a man, and I wish that I didn't let my children down, because I made all of them mistakes, and I didn't handle things appropriately at all. As a matter of fact, a lot of the blame is at my door. But one of the things that we can't do in life is beat ourselves up, because you've got to continue. There's only so long you can beat yourself up. There's only so long you can say, well, I'm the victim, or I've done this, or I've done that, or lay in self-pity then, because it's pointless laying in self-pity. That doesn't achieve anything. And sometimes, we do need to take a good look at ourselves, because, perhaps a lot of the blame is at you, and you've got to face up to that, but then how do you sort of handle it if you've got an ex-partner that has such irreconcilable differences that they won't communicate with you? And of course, the best outcome is to achieve it yourselves, is by communicating together and by being respectful to each other, drawing a line in the sand, and sort of being able to achieve something. And of course, if your ex-partner is decided to be toxic, because that happens, when they decide, to alienate your children from you, and, you don't realize at the time, maybe you're helping in that process, because you're not handling a breakup very good, and, you're not being yourself. And of course, all of it affects the children, all of it affects them, from the get-go. And how do you sort of deal with that? How do you support the children? Because I was guilty of all of that. I was so wrapped up in me, I didn't stop to take one look at what happens to the children's lives, and what sort of happens in terms of, how worlds can be torn apart, how from a child's mind, how that can affect them greatly. And then we go on to the government, that beautiful government that governs by consent, that does naff all, in my opinion, through the court process to support parents, or indeed to give a consequence to a parent that is totally on breach of custodies. When a father or a mother goes to court, wins a court order, if you can call it a win, because it's never a win, but if you can call it, getting a court order, and then the next thing the other parent or the other party breaches the court order and totally does it, upon their will, and doesn't give a rat's either way on how it's going to affect the children or child or whatever you've sort of got, and how we deal with that. How do we deal with that? Because you go back to court, they give you another court order. And you can play court tennis for months, years. They don't actually give any consequences to these parents. And CAFCAS, which is part of the arm of the social services. I can only speak in my experience. I'd be interested if anybody has anything positive to say about them. And then we go on to the child maintenance. Child maintenance, I can speak from personal opinion that my dad left when I was about 11. And I don't care what his version is, he didn't want to pay. Nobody really wants to pay through the nose and get, done with this. They don't, in the manner of which child maintenance is set up. And to be honest with you, he got away with it for years and years and years and years and years. And then they caught up with him, and then he had to pay it back in arrears. And I feel that there was a lot of men in the late 80s and 90s that got away with it, didn't step up to the plate. And now it's gone the other way, where, they'll hunt you down. They'll literally hunt you down. But does it need reform? And should we pay it? Well, of course, in my opinion, you should pay it. You definitely should pay for your children or child or whatever you've got. You should pay. You should absolutely pay. Should it be a large proportion of your wages? Should it be that if you're struggling, they got no empathy and it's just the same old default, it's the government, sorry, we'll take it out of your wages if you don't, because that's the other argument. What happens if you've got a court order? What happens if your ex-partner is instigating a breach? What happens if you can't see a child? And what happens if you're still paying through the nose? You phone child maintenance up. You say you don't want to pay because they're in breach. They say, well, you still got to pay for your child, which is absolutely right. So then what's the consequence there? Well, a simple answer would be, right, you still got to pay for your child no matter what, because they don't live off fresh air. Your ex-partner is in breach of the court order. You can prove that, you've got the court numbers. We'll retain the money. So you're still paying. And as long as they're compliant with the breach, or they can't give any other sort of tangible evidence, i.e. the child has been sexually interfered with, mentally, traumatized, or the parent is, trying to use them as a pawn, all of them things that could be mitigated. Other than that, why is it that the parent gets rewarded for the bad behavior of breaching court? Why? All prevalent questions, all of which doesn't get addressed in the Houses of Parliament. Out of 670 MPs, why is it that 170 of them are on the sex offenders register? Why is this not addressed? Why is it that there isn't any reform on this? Is it an agenda? Is it something that they want to do by breaking up families and everything else like that? I'm not saying it is. But I can definitely tell you something now. No one's putting themselves out to do it. It's all they're interested in is putting a hypodermic needle in you right now. and making sure that they give contracts to people that are there absolutely in each other's pockets. It's quite interesting, isn't it? I think that on the back of this, there should be some parents that perhaps come together, perhaps raise a group, perhaps do a Telegram group, and perhaps consider looking into Parliament and what they can do to reform, to prevent this from happening. And of course, if there's a way for you to do it without doing this, and to be able to speak to an ex-partner and sort this out, fairly, and, try and solve irreconcilable differences, which is the avenue I wish I did, and I didn't. I'm a classic case of balls up, complete screw up. I didn't handle anything, any good. Does that mean I deserve not to have a relationship with my children or child? Does anybody deserve that? It is a prevalent question. Perhaps they don't. Perhaps after someone screwed up completely bad, perhaps they really, really don't deserve another shot. Why is it that suicides are sometimes the biggest rates in men? I did go to a support group originally it was called Families That Need Fathers. After that, it was called Both Parents Matter. Brilliant, brilliant group. And the reason why they called it Both Parents Matter is because it's not just fathers. There are mums that go through this. And there are children that are going through it. The biggest thing to take away from all of this is there's actually children suffering out there. And the biggest message I could say to anybody if they're going through this right now, I can't speak from a lady's perspective, but just be honest. Just be honest. Don't make mistakes and hide things and do things wrong. Don't lose your integrity. All of which I didn't do. I'm a classic example of somebody that literally just screwed it all up. But, you can't dwell on things. You can't put yourself in a situation where you give up. I did. But if I can share experiences or talk to other people, then perhaps there are people on far worse journeys. Perhaps there are people that have equally done stupid things like me, or perhaps, just perhaps out there, together as a collective, we may be able to find a solution. Because I do believe that no matter what we do wrong, or what people do wrong, or the system itself, I think as a collective we could all come together. I think that could be the way forward. So a bit of a intense one for us, because we don't normally do anything that's sort of like full on intense. We normally do stuff that's a bit light-hearted. I was just interested to see if anybody has gone through that process and what their take is and how it is. And please do share share this out, because especially during lockdown, if there are parents right now that can't see their children, the pain that they must be going through, grandparents, the children themselves, the pain they must be going through, all of this. So please, I never ask to share. I normally just put at the bottom of our thing, I always just put the standard thing. But please do share this. Share this, and if it can help anybody, if it doesn't help anybody, and I get like slammed in the comment section for this, then fine. Oh, that's fine. I know what I've done wrong in my life, and I don't need anybody else to sort of highlight that for me. And freedom of speech is everything, I say. But please do share this. And God bless everybody. God bless all families out there. And out of this today, not just the children or anything else like that. If there's anybody on their own during lockdowns and things like that, reach out to them. Pick up the phone. Do whatever you can to sort of reach out to people. Don't, especially now we're going to be moving into Christmas, don't let them be alone. That's the main thing. Don't let people be alone. Come together, because that's what we're here for, is to come together. I wish I knew that many, many years ago. Thank you. God bless everyone.